Are you hooked yet? Welcome inside another edition of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We are so excited to get into all kinds of stuff because this week is already mad, just like it is this time in November every college football season. Alongside Vince Young and Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. We appreciate you joining us. You can always rate and review us at the Stampede UT anywhere on social media. You can also find us anywhere you get your podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you get them. So much to get into. 35-10 loss to Georgia, obviously. Arkansas coming up this week. But before we get into any of that, we got to talk about what's coming up Friday night at Victory Lap in downtown Austin. Vince, Mack, and I will be joined by Jamal Charles for the Athletes First Tailgate Tour. 6 to 9, we'll do the podcast from 7 to 7:45. It's going to be great. Number one, I said this right before we started, to see Vince in person again. We feel like even if it's been like a week, it's been too long to see Vince Young in person. But we've got so much coming up on Friday night. We hope you guys will join us again, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock at Victory Lap in downtown Austin. You guys excited for the tailgate?
We are. And Vince had that great 22-20 win in Fayetteville against Arkansas. So he'll be pumped on Friday night and getting ready to play the Hogs again on Saturday.
And I don't think we're going to do just 45 minutes. I think it's going to be a little longer than that.
It feels that way every time we do the podcast.
Well, and I love Vince. He's a great athlete. He will not be the fastest person in our foursome.
Correct.
Because Jamal's coming.
Oh, yeah. And
Jamal
I can't wait.
may be he and maybe Marquise Goodwin.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Maybe two of the fastest guys we've ever coached.
They got some juice.
I mean,
and
like I said,
don't forget about Ramon Taylor, RT.
That was Ramon Taylor's right in that group. I'd love to see that race, and they could probably still run.
Exactly.
I guarantee you they could. And speaking of former Texas Longhorns that you guys know very well, it's a special weekend as well for Michael Huff. What a weekend for him. I just can't get over the fact that he was so good here and he did so much for the game of college football, and now he's going into the National Football Foundation Hall of Fame.
Yeah, join the club, man. He's the best, and he did so much for us. And the interesting thing for you young players out there, he was not highly recruited.
Yeah,
he was a track guy, and people didn't think he'd hit you, and they didn't think he was a great football player. And oh my gosh, here we are in the Hall of Fame. So, and a better person than he is player.
Yeah,
he's done so much to help Texas. He loves the university, is a vital part of Sark's program. So I'm so proud of him and can't wait to hug his neck on Saturday.
Yeah, he finally get to show his guns. You know, all he does is do curls.
That's why I wear long sleeve shirts.
Very happy for Huff. He well deserved. Man, we went into the draft together. I got great history with him. Our family always hang out, do some kind of vacation. So I'm looking forward to going to Vegas to support him and hang out with him. It's going to be great.
It's got to be a great weekend. We've got the tailgate. We got Michael Huff. And, of course, we've got great football.
We got to get Huff on the show.
Yes, sir. I mean, you guys have a running list of guys that it's like, we got to get him on the show. We got to get him on the show.
We got a lot of people they lined up ready for us right now.
Well, I know you guys have been dying to get into what's going on with Texas football right now. I know that there's so much to talk about with Saturday's 35-10 loss. It's 14-10 going into the fourth quarter. Texas gets a little bit of momentum, and then Georgia just flips it right back. It's what Kirby Smart does. It's what's made Georgia so good over the years. But I want to get just an initial take, Vince. I know you're kind of stewing on some of this stuff since Saturday. What were some of your takeaways from the 35-10 loss to Georgia?
Well, and before Vince starts, Vince is stewing because he's disappointed for the team.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You get so excited, you get so hyped. So it's not you're mad. You're disappointed. So I didn't mean to interrupt Vince.
And you want to win. I mean, that's everybody. Every Longhorn wants to win.
Well, and you want them to win.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not criticism. It's facts.
It's facts. I just want the best for them because I know how hard them guys work. And it's not easy, playing at the University of Texas. So thank Bob for being my therapist for this 45 minutes to an hour.
Let's do it. Let's get your thoughts. Let's get into what you thought of Saturday's game.
Well, I feel like Coach Smart had his team ready to play. I think they did a tremendous job of just staying into their game plan, and they was ready to play. I felt like we was ready to play until we made a lot of miscues. We can't drop the ball. We can't have our third down and that percentage that we had. We can't have penalties. When you go into a hostile environment like that, one of the things that you got to understand is what we've been talking about each week is understanding the game. at these type of moments. When you're playing a playoff game at this time of the year, you got to understand, like, we can't have these mistakes. So this is not me, like Coach said, getting on those guys, because I already know them guys already know what they did to lose the game. This is me being as a bigger brother, like trying to let them know, like, we can't do that because it hurts you as a team. Because you guys been doing really good the last couple weeks, but I feel like you wasn't prepared. And Kirby and Georgia Dogs were prepared. They was ready to go, and they showed it. And we got hitting them off, and we honestly got hitting them off. And we saw guys out there bleeding. We saw guys out there trying to make plays. But on the offense side of the ball, we cannot have mistakes and penalties that keep us in first and 15, third. And that's hard against a hard team like that. So this is just all about, man, just get back to being focused, man. Do what you got to do at practice. It's all about your preparation. Again, it's all about you, and you still got a shot at making the playoffs, and you got to believe in that, because you never know what's gonna happen with all the stuff that's going on right now in the college football. So get back to being focused. Get back to what you need to do, and somebody on that team needs to step up and start voicing how they feel about a situation. It's time for a team meeting.
Two of the two toughest, if you looked at it before the season or in the season, the two toughest road tests it felt like would be Florida and Georgia. And in both games, to Vince's point, they got punched in the mouth. And when they did, they didn't respond the way you probably expected them to respond.
Right.
But so many things happened. I mean, there's so many stats that you can go through. Texas penalty, Vince mentioned penalties. 133rd out of 134 teams right now in the country. Texas is 133rd in penalties per game. That is very uncharacteristically undisciplined. The rushing attack is nowhere to be found. Against Georgia, 29 yards in the first game last year, 31 in the SEC championship game, and 23 on Saturday. And that was after 33 on the opening drive. So there's a lot of stats you can get into that really tell the story. I'm more curious from your perspective, Coach. It's almost like there's nothing you can do when something like this happens. 4th and 1, Gunnar Stockton gets it. Texas had just pulled within 14-10. They get the 4th and 1 conversion. That was a huge gamble. They get the 4th down. On 4th and 5, they get Colin Simmons to jump off sides. And then they score a touchdown, and they get the onside kick right after that. It felt like that was just totally deflating, and there was no coming back from it after that. What were your thoughts as you kind of looked at that series and that sequence that kind of changed the game?
I thought it was a great game until that 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And Texas had taken momentum. There's about 4 or 5 3-and-outs. And then Texas gets the interception, goes down, scores. So I actually think Texas is going to win the game at that point because they've got total momentum. Give Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator at Georgia, and Kirby credit because they knew they were in trouble.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had lost momentum. They had to get it back. If they punted, Texas probably goes up 21-14 because or 21 or 17-14 because it's 14-10 at that point. And Kirby said, "What the heck? Let's go for it." Now, Sark's been criticized for going for 4th downs. Too many. I've been criticized for going for 4th downs. When it works, you're a genius. If Kirby hadn't made that 4th down and had given Texas the ball at the 36 and gotten beat, we'd be having different discussions. We'd be talking about he's lost it.
Right.
He's panicked. He didn't trust his team. But that was an unbelievable play call and really took a lot of the steam out of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go down to the 4th and 5. Whether he was going to go for it or not, you can't be offsides. Colin's smarter than that, and Colin's trying to get to the passer, and he's trying to make a play. But then and Gunnar Stockton slings it deep like Vince would. That's what you do when somebody's offsides. Take a deep shot. And I thought it was probably pass interference down deep, and they just didn't call it. And then I remember against Clemson, I thought it was really great coaching for Nick Saban to have an onside kick right after they scored against Clemson in the national championship game. And what you do is you sit and watch the front line. You have a guy during the game that watches the front line on kickoff return, and if you see him turn and leave too soon, you kick it right at him. And so there are 3 plays that determined the difference in that ballgame.
And smart enough to go right at the freshman Jonah Williams, who's on that kickoff return. And
who just was excited to get back and trying to get in his position, and they took advantage of a mistake. So these games are down to very minute things that make a difference in winning and losing. The smallest of margins, and Georgia took advantage of those margins, and this is a huge missed opportunity for Texas because we're talking about playoff bound here and SEC championship today if Texas wins that game. Now you're talking about got a rival coming in. You've got A&M with a 27-point comeback, largest in school history, and they're all excited. So
and they play Samford, so they'll be 11-0 when they come to Austin.
There's a good chance they'll win.
Yeah.
with me with the underdog, I'm not sure that I'd get it right, but I think I would definitely pick A&M at home to have the slight advantage. But Sark said it in preseason. This is where he's so frustrated today. He talked about penalties. You can't have pre-snap and post-whistle penalties. 9 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're talking about got to run the ball. You got to be physical. No rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it. And people got on him some Monday about, well, he's being too positive. Here's his problem. He's got Arkansas this weekend. He's got a bunch of coaches with their head down that he's mad at.
Mm-hmm.
He's got players that he's mad at. And he's got to pick everybody up and get them back together to beat Arkansas. So what you do is you come home and say, these things we did really well. It's a 14-10 game. We're in the fourth quarter. We had a chance to win against a great Georgia team, and nobody wins in Athens. And they're beating all the SEC teams. They may be the best team in the country, and we had a chance to win. Here's where we lost it. Here's what we've got to do to get better. So when he comes into the press conference all upbeat and says, here are the things, everybody says, was he not at the game?
Right.
I mean, what's wrong with this idiot? And he said, no, he's trying to pick his team up.
Right.
I'm trying to tell you fans that are mad at me, here's what was wrong. I got it. I was there. I saw it. I had a good view. But here are the things that give me hope.
Front row seat.
Front row seat is too close on some of that. In fact, some of those games when the fans used to leave, when we were way behind Vince, I'd want to leave too, but they wouldn't let me. I had to stay, and I had to watch it.
You got to finish.
And then that bunch gets back at 5 a.m. They're exhausted. After a loss, everybody's in the training room because everybody's hurt and down, and there's some depression with losing. After a win, nobody even goes to the training room. You don't even need a doctor or a trainer. They're all in there singing and laughing and showing highlights. But you got to go back. And that's the thing about life. You got to get back up and go every day. This bunch got to get ready to play.
One of the good things about it, they're not pointing fingers at each other. So
no,
and that's really bad if that's starting to happen. But it doesn't need someone to uplift them, not just coach. It has to be the leaders on that team needs to uplift each other to let them know, like, hey, man, we dropped the ball, but hey, man, that's over with. Let's get ready for Arkansas. Let's get ready because you never know what can happen. So the main thing is just finish the season strong. That's the main goal right now.
All right, so if they're gonna finish the season strong, they're gonna do it behind Arch Manning, and I think Arch has significantly taken steps over the last 2 or 3 games. Vince, I want to know what you've seen out of Arch. Obviously, it's an interesting dilemma that Texas drops 4 passes on Saturday, and Arch just keeps firing away. He seems like he's okay dealing with some of that stuff. Where have you seen him grow the most, especially mentally? Because I mean, it feels like that's been a big step for him as well.
Yeah, I could say mentally, he has grown a major in a major way because when I saw him walking up at the sideline, you didn't see a bunch of frustration. You saw him go up to his offensive line. He went up to receivers. He went up to his team and like, hey man, let's just keep going. Let's keep fighting. And that's what you need, and that's what you want to see out of your quarterback. If you see that your quarterback still have positive energy and still moving in the right direction, it gives you some kind of take a deep breath and relax. Like, okay, let's get this together. Let's go on this next series and try to put it all together, which they tried to do. Like you just said, like they running game, they actually was running the ball. But once we got that big run, it was a holding penalty. And that was just the only thing that was hurting them in the game when they did get the big kickoff return, when they got a big play down the field, they had to come on right back because of a penalty. So it wasn't like these guys was doing bad. It's just the things that was hurting them. So just to see Arch still standing tall in that pocket, delivering the ball with all adversity against him. I mean, when they turned those lights out and the crowd was going crazy, I was just sitting there like, wow, what would you do, Vince, when they scored a touchdown, turn the lights off, and it's blinking, and the crowd is going wild? What would you do in that moment, VY? I was sitting
Yeah.
there trying to put
I,
myself in his position as
yeah,
a
I'd be trying to
quarterback
hold you
to
back. I'd say,
That's what I was
easy,
thinking.
easy, big guy. Easy, big
That's
guy.
what I was
He'd
thinking.
be on the
I was
hash mark, juicing everybody up, trying to say, hey, this ain't over, folks. We're coming back
exactly.
at
So
you.
what I see in Arch that he's getting it. He's starting to feel it. He's starting to make better decisions. That interception was a tough play. I thought it should have been a pass interference. The
Yeah.
guy got held. They pulled him, and it's a turnover. But at the same time, his eyes in the right place. He threw the ball. He gave his receiver opportunity, but I felt like it should have been a pass interference. So to me, he's starting to see it. He's starting to get comfortable. He just got to make sure when he's on that sideline, like, hey guys, like you dropped the ball. You can't be one of those guys that's gonna go back and think about that play. You gotta do exactly what I'm doing. If I throw a incomplete pass, if I do something wrong, I gotta have a short memory. The same thing with you guys at wide receiver, at running back, wherever it may be. You drop a ball, you gotta have a short memory. So he got to continue to like motivate his teammates around him to understand, like, hey man, I'm gonna keep coming back to you. I'm gonna need you because it's not just me. It takes all of us to win this ball game, especially in a Georgia game like that, a hostile environment, and a tough game like that.
And Bob Vince is making such a great point. The Georgia guys, the in big games, in big moments, the best players step up. And Georgia's players did that. They stepped up in that fourth quarter and took over it. And I've always felt like football is a simple game, but the people that play it, coach it, officiate it are really complicated. There's 9 penalties against Texas. There's 1 against Georgia. Is that because you're on the road in front of 100,000 people that are screaming at you and you subconsciously let some go for Georgia? How can you go through a game where there's 1 penalty for one team and 9 for the other?
And very similar to
Right.
the SEC championship game last year, where at the half,
That's what I mean.
Steve was asked a question and he said, "I just hope they call a penalty on Georgia at some
Yeah,
point."
I'm sure he felt the same way Saturday night. And I felt that some. And then we got advantages some, I thought, at Texas because we were Texas.
Hmm.
And we're playing good. And the officials get he didn't hold him. They're too well taught to do that. And Kirby's over there screaming at him. So that's the other part of this that happens. But I also felt like that we've talked about the process for Arch. I think he gets better every week.
Yeah.
And the expectations are still some people will tell me Vince didn't have a good pro career. Said he played forever. He made a lot of money. He went to the Pro Bowl. He got him in the playoffs. Tell me about what'd you do?
Right.
Tell me, compare your pro career to
Right.
Vince's. Because the expectations were so high. Matt Leinart didn't have a good pro career. Matt Leinert's one of the best players to ever play. Vince is one of the best players to ever play. So what we're doing now, when I have people come up and say, "What do you think about Arch?" I said, "I think he's really good and going to be great."
Yeah.
And they said, "He's been a disappointment." I said, "To you."
Right.
Because you had expectations that we all set for him. And I'm sure his are that high too, but it's unfair. And you go back and look, the offensive line we've talked about all year is inexperienced. And they've struggled some. The tight ends have not been a factor, which we thought they would be in preseason. The receivers have had trouble getting off man because really good defensive backs stick on them. That means Arch has got to hold the ball till he get opens or he can throw them open and with an offensive line that's struggling. And the backs have been hurt. So when you look at it offensively, it has not been a smooth and easy year. And everybody can see the quarterback. They can't see the receiver getting hung up. They can't see him running the wrong route.
Right.
And then you get protection good, and then you get him open with a great call. Then you get a perfect throw, and he drops it. I mean, you can't drop passes if you're a receiver. That's what you do. Do your job, man.
First play of the game, he throws one out to Wingo, and Wingo trips onto his own feet, and there was a huge hole there that he could have had a big gain.
Who's been great.
He's been
at that.
And then there's a false start on the drive, and then they have 3rd and 6 or whatever it was, and he hits Wingo across the middle. That's going to be a first down, and he drops it. And then they score 10 points, and everybody's looking at why did they score 10 points? What are the struggles with this offense? Well, they can't run it. There are too many penalties. And they're dropping balls. I mean, it's pretty evident. Like this, a lot of this is not on Arch. Like,
No,
and I'm not sure why people are going after him.
And then you lose time of possession. and Georgia's on the field, and your defense gets tired. They get frustrated. They were so smart. They onside kicked instead of kicking it deep to the best returner in the country. That's where Kirby was so much smarter than these other guys. He said, "You think I'm kicking it to him? I saw him beat Kentucky. I saw him beat Mississippi State. I saw him beat Oklahoma. I may not be very smart, man, but I'm damn sure not going to kick it to him."
And he did it. He did it to them too. He was about to go on there,
and he did. But don't kick it to him.
Right.
That was it. So, and I think that's the frustrating thing as a coach is maybe Thursday's practice they didn't drop a ball. They look perfect. And then I've been on the field, some on that sideline where you said, "Where did this come from?" I mean, what happened? And it's a younger team, so maybe they weren't quite ready for that setting. Maybe they weren't ready for Florida. Quite ready for that setting. Had trouble at Kentucky and Mississippi State on the road, but found a way to win. So maybe it's just they're going through a process. They've got 2 home games here. They can still win 9 games. So maybe they're just not in a position where they're old enough and mature enough to go win in a great environment like Athens and against one of the best teams in the country.
And Michael Taft said it after the game. Listen, we're not dead yet. I think they're right there. Their college football playoff hopes are fading,
bleeding,
but they're not there yet. If they beat Arkansas and they beat Texas A&M, that's a 9-3 football team that went out of conference to play Ohio State, and then everything depends on whatever happens with everybody else. But there's still a lot of hope, I think, in that locker room that they can still pull this off.
Yeah, what they have done though is that now they're depending on somebody else,
right?
And that's what you never want to do as a football
Sark's
team.
mentioned that
You want
last
to
2 years.
control your destiny, man. Don't depend on somebody else. Clemson got in at 9-3 last year. Nobody's gotten in with 4 losses, but Clemson got in. So they beat Arkansas and they beat A&M, and they probably need to look good. And then you're putting yourself in the hands of the committee.
And you hope one of those other teams gets beat in Oklahoma or in Oregon or whoever it is. All right, we've got a bunch more to get into. What are the big picture implications of this loss for Texas? Some of what we're talking about now, but also there have been some really interesting moments. Desmond Howard with an interesting comment about the future of Steve Sarkisian at Texas. I want to know how you guys handle that in the locker room and some of those things. Obviously, what happened with Diana Rossini as well. So we'll get into those things and then obviously preview Arkansas as well when we come back. This is The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. College football not feeling as juicy as it once did? Let me put you onto something that'll shake up your Saturday and every other day of the week. Because now that Wendy's has crispy chicken tendies and a powerhouse lineup of new sauces, it's time you transferred to the hottest team in the league.
That's right, Team Tendies. Wendy's Tendies. They're making their undeniable rookie season one for the books. Enjoy first-string flavor from some 5-star recruits. Rep your own new favorite team everywhere you go, but make sure to cheer with your mouth closed.
Take it to the end zone of savory sauces like honey barbecue, creamy ranch, and the new Wendy's signature sauce to experience a total taste bud blitz of flavor. It's time to join a team that won't upset you with an upset. Taste the phenom that's gracing the gridiron with its juicy, crispy, and tendery tendencies.
Don't fumble the bag. Commit to Team Tendies and call the most delicious plays in the playbook. All right, huddle up. Tendies on 3. Tendies on 3. 1, 2, 3. Tendies. Let's do this.
Wendy's Chicken Tendies, now at participating U.S. Wendy's. From Longhorns to startups, Branded Bills has you covered. Whether you're repping burnt orange pride or building a brand of your own, nothing tells your story like a custom hat. Branded Bills is a proud sponsor of Texas Athletics with licensed Longhorn headwear that holds up from the tailgate to the stadium and through the celebration.
Bob, don't forget the sidelines and the golf course, too.
You know it, Coach. You have to look good to play good.
But Branded Bills doesn't stop there. They specialize in custom headwear that helps teams, companies, and communities showcase who they are with premium fit, finish, and style.
So whether you're a Longhorn fan, a business founder, or just someone who wants to stand out, check out Branded Bills just like mine.
Explore their officially licensed UT collection or design your own custom hat built just for you. Branded Bills, from Longhorns to startups, licensed pride, custom style. All right, welcome back to The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Vince Young and Mack Brown. I am Bob Ballou. We thank you guys for listening. Always, you can rate and review us. at the Stampede UT on social media, and then you can find this podcast anywhere you get your podcast. What an interesting week in college football in general. I want to start with what's going on at Texas and what's going on with Steve Sarkisian, because I think you guys would have really good perspective on how you're supposed to deal with this stuff. 4 hours before kick at Mississippi State, the word comes out from Diana Rossini that Sark may have interest in potential NFL openings. This week, it's Desmond Howard's turn to come forward with something as he's taking out the garbage at his house. He puts on Instagram, don't be surprised if the Texas job opens up by the end of the season. It would be a mutual parting of ways. It would not be a firing. It would be a mutual parting of ways. So listen, I don't discount reports from media members who are well sourced. I think Diana Rossini's been a great reporter for a long time. Desmond Howard's been in this business for a long time, so they have people that they trust. What do you guys make of those two situations and how Steve Sarkisian is supposed to handle this stuff? Vince, it's got to be really hard as a player when you hear these things about your coach. I think Sark's probably one of the, I don't know if I would say few coaches, but he's one of the coaches that all along has been very open and honest with his team. He's a very vulnerable person about his past. I feel like he's been pretty honest with his team about what's going on. But these reports start coming out, and one on top of another makes you think there's smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. What do you kind of look at in these situations?
It just sucks, man. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. I'm
Yeah.
like, Desmond, man, take your trash out and shut up, man. We don't need that extra media at UT right now. We already got enough media going on with our team and where we're going to be at the end of the season. So cut that out, Des. I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks, big guy. But it's tough as a player because, you know, you just came from a loss, right? You know, a tough loss and Atkins. And now you're trying to like get everybody back together. That's refocus. We got 2 more games, you know, and then boom, here's something thrown out in the media. And like you said, we already discussed this a couple of weeks ago. So now you're just like, man, you know, as a player, you're kind of like, what we gonna do, you know? And I feel Coach will do a great job of pulling his leaders in the team ring in the private area and be like, hey, this is what's going on. You can go back and say whatever to the team and let them know this was going on with this situation, and let's get back to focus on football. So whatever it may be, as a player standpoint, I feel like like you just said, that coach does a good job of communicating that to his team. So you have to just sit back and wait till he answer those to us as a team. But our main focus on is Arkansas. We can't feed into, you know, the hoopla and the stuff that's going on in the media because right now we just dropped the egg. Right now we stinking up the place right now. So what we got to do is get back to work, go to our preparation, go to practice, and get ready for Arkansas.
You know, with the NIL and transfer portal era, everybody's always looking. Everybody's always seeing what else is out there. What I've said all along is, I personally, if Sark has any interest whatsoever in ever going back to the NFL, I don't ever mind him peeking at that and seeing what else is out there. I think coaches should keep their options open because of the way this is all going. Look at Penn State. Look at LSU. All the things about Vince talks all the time about loyalty and all those things. Mack, what do you make of Diana Rossini's report and Desmond Howard's report and how these are starting to – that's 2, and that's all there is right now. But how these are starting to kind of flare up here and there and how Steve deals with it with his team.
First, we're not sure what's true anymore.
Right.
I got a report one day of so-and-so got fired, and I sent it, and they said, no, it's not. That's a false report. I was on the road one time, and our defensive coordinator, Jay Bateman, there was a big headline that said, Bateman released of his duties today. And I'm saying, I called, and I said, what happened? They said, oh, it's a false report, trying to hurt your recruiting. And AI's tough.
Sure.
They can make these graphics look like they're legit.
Sure.
And so Steve has coached in the NFL. He's a tremendous football coach. If I was him, I would keep options open through my agent. I mean, if somebody going to come in and offer me $20 million, I'd listen at the end of the season.
Smart business.
Yeah, it's a smart business. So I spoke at the Little Rock Touchdown Club on Monday. They said Arkansas can't win a game. They can't finish. I said, let's look at it this way. They've got an interim coach that doesn't know if he's going to be there. They've got a group of assistant coaches that don't know if they're going to be there, even if he stays. And they got players that all have agents, too, that are looking at other schools because they don't know if they're going to get to stay there. They don't know if they're going to get paid there. So those kids to be within 1-score games for 6 out of the last 8 weeks, and those coaches have done an amazing job of putting themselves in position to win. They just haven't won. And that's the thing that you're having to do all over the country. All the talk about Lane Kiffin, all the talk about John Summerall, these poor coaches, they're having to answer questions earlier in the season than I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tough, and it's hard to answer questions. And unless that coach has said, I'm definitely staying here and I'm signing a new extension, then he's still listening. His agent is listening to people. I mean, that's it.
And even then.
And even then. But it's just new, and it's very distracting. But I do think it would have been really hard for Vince and the team for me to do this stuff. It's a little bit different now because everybody's out there. Social media is different, and there's so much stuff going on. It's the craziest stuff I've ever heard. Are we going to have a coach leave a team that's going to the playoffs and go to another team before the playoff? I never thought I'd see that. We see it before bowl games. Are we going to see it now before playoffs?
It's
Is
bad.
that actually going to happen, that you would leave a playoff team and go to another school and start recruiting and then maybe pull some of your coaches?
Some of your players.
Oh, there's no question. It's not called tampering anymore. It's called recruiting.
Right.
I mean, that's just
everything is recruiting now.
That's what you do. So agents change everything.
Yeah.
I could sit there and say, I'm not having conversation with these schools. Well, is your agent? I hadn't talked to him. I've been so busy. I'm so focused on the next game. I've told him to handle my business. We'll discuss that at the end of the year. And what I did even last year with our team, I said, some of your agents are talking to other schools. So let's don't worry about anything. I want everybody to do what's best for them at the right time. Right now, what's best for all of us is to beat Arkansas. That's all that matters. The rest of this, all of us are better off when we beat Arkansas. So let's make sure that's our focus this week.
And for you to get better as a player, that helps you as well. Even if you want to transfer, if you can get better this week, that's going to help you as you move on.
Got to put good video on tape,
right?
Because all these other people have recruiters that are looking at you and grading you.
If you check out, like that's going to hurt your recruiting tape.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as in high school. You want to put the best tape you can. Vince, go ahead.
To add what Coach said, man, you can't just believe what everything the media is talking about. Like right now, somebody sent my mother and friends that I'm in the hospital for cancer. Like, don't put that on me, man. This is crazy stuff out there in the world. Like, for somebody even to do something like that, and then makes it concern for my friends, my mom. And I'm like, Mom, if something was happening to me, you'd be the first to know, Mom.
Right.
So when that type of stuff come across your Facebook, whatever you reading, Mom, you let them people know, or you just don't focus on that stuff.
Tell Mom to watch Stampede, and if you're not on here, we'll call her.
If you don't see me talking about it on Stampede, or I called you, I don't want to hear that mess. Because I'm focused on what I need to do, taking care of my everyday responsibilities. So, as a player standpoint, you can't focus on all that stuff. Again, we just lost. So why is you focus on what coach is doing or what they're saying right now? What is he saying to us on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, that is getting us ready to go play football? Like, we need to be the best that we can be to beat Arkansas because we still got an opportunity to make, the best of our season if everything plays out how we want it.
And Bob, I was in the media for 5 years. And I would think you want to be credible, but if you make a statement like those two statements we just discussed, and it gets national attention, we're talking about it on this podcast. Even if you miss, you could say, well, it was in the works.
Right.
So where in your business is it worth it to throw something out there to get you major attention, even if it's not going to work out?
That's the question, because in the moment, it may have been right, and 3 months later, it may not be right anymore. But in that moment, we were close, and it was about to happen.
And is it better to be first or accurate?
Right.
That's the other thing.
Is it respectfully
really
to, if coach was to say, tell his agent or me, tell my agent, hey, I'm focused on what I need to do for my team right now in these last 2 games. We can talk after the season. Is it for that institution or organization? If they don't even respect that, do you still do business with them? You know what I mean? Like, you got to be to the point, like, I understand I got an opportunity over here, but my opportunity is going on right now. I still need to focus on my job where I sign my name on the dotted line at.
And then you get into free speech, because if you can have your opinion, I can agree to disagree with your opinion, but it's harder for me to say you're out,
Right.
because then who else do you kick out? I mean, that's the hard thing. And then you've got to fight with the media. And they said, don't ever get in a fight with somebody that makes their living with a bucket of ink. That's a so.
Yeah, it's interesting, and to Desmond Howard's comment, he said, "Don't be surprised if." That leaves him a lot of out to say, well,
Leaves it great.
hey, he's still the coach. I said, don't be surprised if. I didn't
Yeah.
say it would.
Yeah, they looked at it and it just didn't work
I mean,
out.
it just, there's so many ways to word things. And I know coaches have to word things certain ways too to make sure that they're not saying something that their team's going to look at. All right, let's get into a little bit of what can happen with these guys that could be thinking about transferring, and then they end up playing well this week. And I think Texas is in a really interesting situation. They're probably, I would imagine that this is a team that if they beat Arkansas handily and then they beat A&M, that'll be 11-0 A&M. For all intents and purposes, they should be absolutely considered for the college football playoff.
Absolutely considered.
Absolutely
means,
considered.
Who knows?
That means that if it comes down to Texas or Oklahoma or Vanderbilt, and they've beaten those two teams head to head, how much will the committee factor in those things? What are your thoughts as you look at this Texas team and you say a convincing win over Arkansas, like you beat them bad, and then you beat A&M, you got to feel pretty good about you've changed the narrative after a 35-10 loss to Georgia, where it sits right now. 2 weeks from now, you could be in a totally different situation depending on how you handle your business.
Yeah, the narrative right now is not good.
Right.
People would think they're out. So it's we forget we're dealing with human beings. And we forget that we're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old human beings. If we had beaten Georgia, Arkansas would have been a scary game, man. Arkansas stuck between Georgia and A&M.
Hey, that's what Sark called it anyway.
Yeah.
Somebody asked if it's a trap game, and his response was immediately, it's a scary game.
Now, these guys are going to get cussed all week. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They've won so many games at home. You Texas fans need to pick it up and make sure that they go dominate this game, because Arkansas got nothing to lose, man. Right. They're coming in gunslinging. They're having fun and getting after it. And then the same thing with A&M. A&M's really good. They're like I said, I coached against Mike Elko for 2 years. He's really a good football coach. They're tough, they're aggressive, and they did not quit. And it's hard to be down 30-3 and come back and win. We've discussed that. Texas did it at Mississippi State, but you got to have something special about your team if you do that. So I do think that you probably better to beat Arkansas bad, but even if you beat Arkansas and beat A&M, then at least you're back in the Clemson, Georgia last year category about we'll actually see the Texas schedule's been tough. How much does that matter to the committee? The who you beating Oklahoma and Vanderbilt, will they be considered higher than Texas? And you beat both of them. Georgia last year. Same thing, and that's why I didn't want to be on the committee, because I'm not sure that we have an actual process that is foolproof and that we know exactly how to get the best teams in. And that's the difficult thing. What Texas has got to do is take the mindset still in the playoff.
Right.
We have no room for error. We have got to win this one and the next one. And you can't go in expecting to blow somebody out. You got to try to. But you got to think about winning first and then blow out second.
Vince, do you think this Texas team is a playoff team?
Definitely. Hell yeah.
What is it? I mean, what is it about, though? Obviously, that's where we are right now, coming out of that 25-point loss to Georgia. Why do you think they are?
They're proven. I mean, they've been to the playoffs just 2 years in a row in a SEC tough conference, and they actually playing well, right? Playing well. They just beating themselves. So it's just to the point, like Coach just said, it is not about nobody else but us. And I really feel like with that type of defense that they have and the type of, offense that they have that can win ball games just off their defense, just playing the game. I mean, they just have a really good team. I don't see them not being in the playoff, but somebody in the SEC can't go. And if it is us, Texas don't make it. Oh, so what? At least we finished beating A&M and Arkansas. Let's start focus on our bowl game and next season if they don't make it. I feel like they can make it if they finish their destiny and what they can control. But they are definitely a playoff football team. I don't see how they're not a playoff team. But again, we're not on the committee. We're not on none of that mess. I'm just going off what I see, each week, that a talented team that nobody is giving them anything, and they have went out there and took it. I don't even believe anybody thought they was going to win over 9 games this year, and they have, with a young offensive team and a really strong defense. So to me, overall, they are a playoff team.
So Vince, let me follow up with you. You've talked about the schedule too. The Ohio State game that's going to be the lingering thing for this Texas team, is that it should be a positive that they went and played Ohio State in the opener. It should be a positive the way the committee looks at them because of the way they scheduled. Do you think they'll look at it that way?
Probably not. Probably not. Just to me, that bye week we had last week hurt us to not even have a rhythm, but in the same time to continue to build and have a process of they going in the right direction as a football team. I don't think the committee is not even paying attention to that. I think we might, to me, if we don't finish how we're supposed to, if we still win, I don't even think we'll make the playoffs.
And
I
Bob,
think
that's
they're
a
gonna go
great
with
point.
somebody else.
Yeah. Everybody's ready to play at the first of the year. You get this time of the year and you're tired and frustrated and getting criticism, the teams that play the best at the end here are going to be the ones that get in the playoff. So Saturday's huge. If Texas goes out there and lays an egg
Yeah.
and it's flat and wins late, everybody going to say,
Yeah.
they're not very good. And if you look at it, just all of us looking, you've got Ohio State, Indiana, and A&M. They've been pretty foolproof. They've won every game, so good for them. Then you got a stretch of a whole bunch of guys that have some bad spots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you've probably got 15 of those to pick about 8. And then how do you decide which ones of those do you pick? Who's got the fewest warts? And who has the best chance to win? And that's why I think we take out the group of 5, because that's going to take one of those teams that's very capable to be in the playoffs out and let them go have their own playoff. Then you got 12 happy teams in the group of 5. And that would be a lot better. But that's what this is going to come down to. There is no room for error.
No room.
And I don't know, if you get beat at Georgia 17-16, you feel better, but you still got beat at Georgia.
Right.
And it's still a loss. And when you go to 9 games in your conference schedule, you're going to play fewer Sam Houstons and fewer El Pasos. Vince said it's the NFL. You're going to get beaten down every week. So who's got the most depth? Who's got the most confidence? Who can play every week? That's what this thing's coming down to now.
And that group of 5 team right now would be a team like a North Texas, like a James Madison, that you don't really feel like could compete at Georgia, if Georgia was the 5th seed. And then you look at the ACC, and the ACC, whoever wins the ACC is probably going to be outside of the top 12, unless that maybe Georgia Tech is that team, maybe Miami's that team, whoever it is, that could be a team that's outside the top 12. So it's a really interesting dynamic in what's going on in this playoff right now, and
that's
some
what
of
you
the
think
teams
about the play-in, right?
Right.
They're gonna have to think about the play-in, definitely.
Yeah, and the SEC is not wanting. The SEC president, Mississippi State, I think, and the SEC in general doesn't want the conference champion in the Big 12 and the ACC to have an automatic spot.
Right.
They want you to have to be rated high enough, which is also interesting as we start moving forward too. And will we have playoff games? I mean, conference championship games anymore? Because Kiffin said last year, I'd rather not play in the conference championship game. I think it was him, one of the coaches in the SEC. I'd rather not play in the conference championship game so I can have a chance to win a national championship. So if we're really throwing out the conference championship as such, or it's your body of work during the season, then we need to cut out the group of 5 games, let them have their own ball and go play in their own corner and figure this thing out, who are the best teams based on strength of record, based on strength of schedule. And that way you can have Texas playing Ohio State. Ohio State still got Michigan. That's Texas, Oklahoma. You got to get by that one, and it hadn't been easy for them. And then Indiana's got Purdue. A&M's got Texas. So there's still a lot of football to be played, but this is big guy ball here at the end, and you got to step up, man. You got to bring your ball to the plate.
Exactly. And they're going to go play in the conference championship game. You look at Georgia; they lost Carson Beck against Texas last year, and then he wasn't ready to play Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. So there's that side of it, and then you get the situation last year like we had with SMU and Clemson, where Clemson wins the game, so they're automatically in, and then you're deciding between 11-1 SMU, or is that the team that should get? I mean, there's so many things that go into this that are interesting, and you're not necessarily getting the best 12.
Well, and Gunnar Stockton had to play against Notre Dame, which probably helped him beat Texas.
Sure,
even though it hurt them in the playoff last year. It just got him a little ahead of the game.
So we'll see how this plays out, obviously, over the next couple weeks. But like to your point, Coach, there's a lot of football left to be played, and you just don't know yet. And if you're Texas, you say we got to beat Arkansas and got to beat A&M. Do what we can to put ourselves in a position to win. All right, and get in the playoff. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this Arkansas matchup and give you again the details for our tailgate that's coming up Friday night to get you set for Texas and Arkansas, the renewing of the rivalry in Austin. We'll get to that and much more when we come back. This is The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns.
Are you ready to get off the bench and into the game? Then head over to Underdog to get in on all the action.
Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash.
This week on Underdog, I'm looking at Arkansas and Texas right here in Austin. I'm going to go with Arch Manning, higher than 245.5 yards passing. And then I'm going to go up north, just north of the Red River, and see that Missouri-Oklahoma game. I'm going to go John Mateer lower than 220.5 yards passing. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code STAMPEDE to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code STAMPEDE. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Support for the Stampede comes from Google. We hear commentators talk about the spread offense all the time, but what if you don't know exactly what that means? Or what makes it different from other offensive schemes?
You can keep wondering. Ask your friends and hope they know what they're talking about, or you can use AI mode in Google search.
You can just type, "Help me understand what a spread option offense is and why a football team would choose to run it." Yep, you can ask that all in one search, and you'll get an organized and helpful AI-powered response with everything you need to know.
But it doesn't end there. Let's say you want to keep going deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a whole new search. You can ask direct follow-ups like, break down how it compares to the pro-style offense based on overall philosophy, types of formations used, and pace. AI mode is great at these types of comparisons, giving you a side-by-side analysis and helping you get the full story from one question to the next.
So if you don't just want to watch the game, but really understand it, you can just ask Google.
Final segment of The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Catch us anytime on anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, at The Stampede UT, anywhere on social media. Alongside Vince Young and Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. We appreciate you joining us. This has been a really fun episode as we get into the doldrums of college football. Holy moly, what a month of November this is.
Holy moly, I like that.
Crazy.
Holy moly.
But before we get back into Texas, Arkansas, we got every week, we got to get into, I want to call it the Mack Brown segment of the week. Mack Brown's favorite segment of the week, Underdogs of the Week, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Mack's starting to really enjoy this segment
You
because
got to be 1-0, and I'm 1-0.
Mack
You got to
goes-
remember November, and I'm 1-0 in November.
Mack is coming on strong. Last week he had Fernando Mendoza to go higher than 240.5 yards passing. He did against Wisconsin.
My man went off.
He went off. So Mack continues his comeback, climbing back up the stairs. He's 6-8 on the year after a slow start.
I'm
I'm
like
going
a fan.
the other way.
I love Mendoza, then I hated him, and then I love him again. So I'm not.
You just keep picking him. I like
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
the way to go.
I got no patience.
I trusted a freshman against Notre Dame, which is that's why I'm just really dumb sometimes. I had Pittsburgh quarterback Mason Heinschel to go higher than 264.5 yards passing. He did not in that 37-15 loss to Notre Dame. I fall to 8-5 on the year. All Vince does is win. All he ever does is win. He took Arch Manning to go higher than 220.5
Thank you,
against
Arch.
Georgia, and he did it. So Vince is 11-2 on the season with his picks, and one of those
quarterback
picks,
team, baby. It's a
one
quarterback.
of those losses was a pick that I made for him. So really, he's 11-1.
I'm tired of you saying that.
I know. I just like to keep
I
bringing it
think
up.
you picked 5 of mine that were losses.
All the losses.
All right. Just for our fans to remember how much we love Vince. He's 11-2 in his picks on our show. He won 30 games and lost 2. Think how spoiled we were. 30 games and lost 2.
30-2, Vince.
And that's unbelievable. I mean, it can't
and the
get
losses
better
weren't
than
on him, so
No.
that works out. They
No,
were on,
it's-
they were
it's
on
yeah.
somebody
on
else.
you.
They were on me.
No, they were on me.
Yeah. they
So
were
you
on
and I are responsible for Vince's 3 losses.
I love
He's
it.
only responsible for one
It
of
was
them.
on
I
the
love
chain
it.
game. That was,
But
that's
I
what
mean,
it was
really,
on.
fans, 30-2.
It's wild.
What a joy, Vince, you brought to all of us in the national championship. Love you, brother, and thank
Thanks,
you.
Coach. Appreciate it.
Love that. Let's get to our picks for this week. Our underdog picks of the week. Mack, you're going to stay right here in Austin. I love that.
I'm going with Arch Manning. He's going to look like his granddad used to against Arkansas. Archie Manning. He's going to go above 245.5 yards passing versus the Hogs.
Arch Manning higher
Let's
than
go,
245.5. Love
Go
it.
Arch.
Vince, who you got
I'm
this
going
week?
with Georgia Tech again. I mean, really good quarterback and starting to the weather is starting to change a little bit. So, me being a quarterback and knowing when it gets down in that cold weather, it's time to run the ball a little bit. So I'm going to go with Haynes King lower than 249.
Look at Vince Young going Haynes King lower than 249.5. I think you should probably go ahead and make that pick as Vince does very little losing in this underdog game. I'm going to take.
I'll pick Haynes. No.
I'm going to take Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer against Missouri at home to go lower than 220.5 yards passing. Oklahoma's been really good of late, but they're just not doing a whole lot offensively.
Well, I mean, it's 11:38, and OU sucks now.
Never gets old to hear Vince say that. Sign up with promo code Stampede to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Underdog, make picks, win money. Arch Manning, John Mateer, Haynes King's the pick this week. All right, let's dive into Arkansas a little bit. Talon Green has been fantastic. I want to start with this because I'm you guys may have seen these stats, but they're pretty phenomenal. Arkansas is 2-8 this year. They have played 4 games on the road that they've lost by a combined 11 points. Their losses this year, 6 of those 8 losses are by 6, 1, 3, 3, 3, and 2. The only blowout was Notre Dame at home, and that was when basically the Sam Pittman era ended. So it was kind of already going out the door that way. Talon Green, just fantastic. 3,256 total yards this year. That's second in the country, combined passing and rushing behind only Byron Brown from South Florida. Talon's been fantastic. And I got to tell you, Coach, if you ever watch him play, he wears the number 10 and he runs like a deer. And there's just a similar look. He's not the quarterback Vince was, obviously, but boy, he's good. And boy, he looks just enough like Vince with that number 10 on his jersey.
Marcel Reed.
Marcel
Where's
Reed,
number
10,
10?
yes.
And he looks like Vince
I
because
know.
he can run. Why
Those-
do all these young quarterbacks wear number
And that's where
10?
Texas finishes this year with back-to-back Vince lookalikes.
Oh, that's true. which is not good.
I know.
Which is not good.
Vince,
Even my guy Haynes King, number 10.
you're right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's right.
John, I think John Mateer's number 10 too, but he doesn't look quite like you.
He
He's
is.
a
I
little
don't know
shorter,
nothing about
not
him,
quite as
but,
fast.
He's doing good though.
Vince, you know Talon a little bit. What do you make of what he's been able to do this year? I mean, he's just playing great football despite this 2-8 record, and again, they're playing all those games super close.
Well, I first saw Green was at Boise State, I saw him just making plays with his legs, throwing the ball, sitting in the pocket, making good throws, and I was watching the game, so I was like, "Let me just reach out to him." So I went into my IG and, sent him a text like, "Man, you're doing really good, man. I'm proud of you, man. Keep up the great work." And he responded like, going crazy, like, "Oh, I'm shocked that, Vince Young is watching me play." And I was like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm paying attention to you. I can see you can do some better things, but I just want to let you know," which I do to a lot of quarterbacks. I don't try to bother them too much, but I always send them a nice little text to say, "Hey, man, I'm watching you, man. You look really good." So um, when he got that, he reached back out to me, and I've just been keeping in touch with him ever since. And he had some couple questions of making his decision to transfer and things like that. And I helped him out, just being somebody he can talk to that been through a lot of the situation of playing that position. And I just say, man, do what your heart feel, man. And make a decision. And the things that I like about him, that he's just a quarterback that doesn't get talked about as much. And I keep telling him, "Hey, man, when it's not there, use your legs. Try to stay ahead of the change. Try to keep positive play. With at playing that position." And he's been paying attention, and I've been keeping in touch with him, and to see that he's responding back to me and telling me like, "Thanks for." Being there for somebody he can talk to, man, is starting to show, even though the record doesn't show, but he actually is doing a really good job. So I'm just proud of him to continue to make his career what his ultimate dream is to make it to the NFL. So we all here to support him, and not this weekend, but I'm still here to support him though.
Well, I think it says a lot about you, Vince, that you're willing to reach out to someone like Talon that you didn't have a relationship with you, and you're the one reaching out to him. You're trying to help these guys. You helped DJ Lagway at Florida. I know your heart's in a good place with all these guys, so it's really special to see something like that.
Yeah, I'm proud of him, and I know it's not easy to play that position. And talking to Arch, just me, I'm more so knowing that these guys are going to be talented playing the game, but the mental part of it is kind of hard as at that age to understand what's going on around you and how you can look further and into your career, how to handle certain things when they do occur. So I just want to see each and last one of these young quarterbacks out here just be successful.
He's got a great opportunity to be successful. This Texas defense is going to throw a lot of stuff at him this week.
Oh yeah.
Mac, you know the history of Texas Arkansas and what it means to have this rivalry. Obviously, I believe the numbers. I think they've played 7 times since 1991 when Arkansas left the conference. But the history is so deep rooted in what a game like this means. Should be a fun renewal to see Arkansas back in DKR on Saturday.
It really is. And Vince, I'm also proud of you for reaching out.
Yeah.
That's what older people do, and you're an icon.
Thanks,
And
Coach.
sometimes it's hard to even believe that these young guys watched you and they see that iconic run on 4th and 5 from the 9 to win the national championship. Every kid's seen that. It just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. So thank you for all you're doing for young people. Yeah, you go back to 69 and the national championship game with President Nixon there. I remember Coach Royal and his picture in the locker room getting the trophy from President Nixon. I've got friends on the other side, and of course, Coach Broyles was a friend, and then Bill Montgomery was the quarterback. Baker Montgomery's a friend of ours, and Bill was a quarterback in that game. And I played golf with him lately, and he said, "Yeah, that game." So that game is stuck in the minds of all the Arkansas people because it's such a difficult loss at the end. And I think this weekend you've got to be really careful if you're Texas anyway. But you're still a human being stuck between the emotion of the game on the road at Georgia and the home game with A&M. And Arkansas is a huge game, but they have lost 8 in a row, and they're sitting there. And to me, number one, you got to bring energy if you're going to finish this thing right. It's not in question. Green can beat you. He's the only guy that can beat you on their team. So you got to keep him, stop their run, and get after him, man. We said it about Legway, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot let Green run and beat you. You've got to make him throw it, but you can't let him sit back there.
Exactly.
You've got to
Gotta get
disrupt
pressure.
him, man.
Yeah.
You have got to get on him, and then the defense has done that. And then you got to run the ball and stay balanced on offense. But the biggest thing is you got to bring it. You got to bring the energy. You got to bring the confidence. The Arkansas team cannot be confident They've lost too many games right at the end. They can't think they're going to win the game, and you can't give them hope. And that's the thing. So get out there, man, and go and let them say, "Oh boy, they're ready to play. This crowd's ready to play. Oh my gosh, what a place, what a day. We're in trouble, man."
And
And
when
you look at that other end, you can see whether that bunch is ready or not. If they're standing around dropping balls and halfway in pregame, you sit there and said, "We got a chance, man.
Yeah.
We got to jump on them early." So this one, fans get there early, jump on them like they did Vanderbilt, just finish a little better.
Yeah, and to add to that, I mean, I didn't know how big the Texas Arkansas rivalry game is until you talk to guys like Mr. Duval and Don Reese and all the guys who've been there, and Peter Gardere and all the guys who played in those big rivalry games. And then they always say, "Man, you'd think they say Oklahoma or Texas Tech, and I can't stand Arkansas." So these guys got to understand who they going up against. There's a lot of tradition and history with these two teams, and like you said with Green, like this is an opportunity to showcase your talent against a really good defense for your opportunity for the future. Not just him, but then our entire offense and defense. You go to the NFL off these type of games that you playing this weekend.
And Coach Petrino's fight to keep the job.
Sure.
Yeah.
Those players are fighting to either have him like them or whoever comes in, they can do that. And if you think about it, Vince, for the old guys, this one has some similarities to Oklahoma. It's a smaller state.
Mm-hmm.
It's a border state game, unlike A&M, which is in-state, or Texas Tech or TCU or Houston or Baylor or all the in-state schools. So it is a state that hates Texas, and there is no question. When I was speaking on Monday, they were really, really nice, but you could tell they wanted to stand back. They didn't want me to stay, for sure.
I did that as well, and we played them there, and we got our butt whooped in Arkansas. They were so pumped up for that game. I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, I think we're gonna win. Texas is gonna definitely get you guys at home by 3 points." They was all looking like me, like, "Yeah, okay, VY."
Well, they were talking about your game, Vince, up there. It's we end up stripping a ball from Matt Jones and late in the ball game inside the 20 to win the game 22-20, and you had one of your iconic plays where you spin out and throw back to said B, and he makes his cut down the end zone or down the sideline to get in the end zone. But that was a great football game, and I actually talked to Houston Nutt yesterday, and that's when he was doing the horns down on the sideline. I said, "Houston, you're not a fan, man." He said, "But I'm an Arkansas guy, and the Arkansas people hate Texas so much they're going to do horns down, and I've got to do it with them." And I said, "You don't have to do it." No, he did.
He did.
He did it anyway.
Yeah, 2000 Cotton Bowl.
Awesome.
Yep.
The Arkansas win, and he rolls over to the sideline and does the horns down. But Vince, you got him back, so that's all you can ask, going up to Fayetteville and getting a chance to win there. I think we should end. Go ahead, Vince.
I said that was a hostile environment.
Yeah, yeah. Every time Texas goes, there it is. Let's end the show this week with the favorite saying as they play Arkansas this week and A&M next week. Mack, the favorite saying of everybody that when you're getting ready to take on Arkansas or Texas A&M, who do they hate more than they love?
They hate Texas more than they love themselves, man, and that hadn't changed. And that's it. The amazing thing about this job that Sark and the staff and the players, and Vince said it earlier, everybody hates Texas.
Everybody.
And I always thought that's the greatest compliment, and I love DeLoss Dodds. I don't like him. I love him. And he said once, they said, "Are you trying to stay up with the Joneses?" And DeLoss said, "We are the Joneses, man. We don't have to stay up with anybody." And I thought, well, a little arrogance there, but that's who we are. And
that's who we are.
And that's the way this place is. But Arkansas has a successful season if they beat Texas. A&M's year undefeated going into the game, they lose to Texas. It's not going to be near the year. It's like Ohio State losing to Michigan and winning a national championship. They're still mad. They're still mad because you lost to Michigan, because the Aggies and the Hogs do hate Texas more than they like themselves. That's just the way it is.
I got to be honest. Whoever your rival is, and let's take the Ohio State one as the example, I would take losing to Michigan every single year if it meant winning a national championship. I don't know how people think it's wild to me.
And the vote might not be that way. And let's say this too. This week, 26 years ago, is when we had the awful bonfire situation. And I remember driving home and stopping and crying on the side of the road as a father and a coach, thinking about those 12 kids that lost their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, here's a hotline. And then they said, no, it's overloaded. You're going to have to drive to find your kids.
Wow.
And I thought, what an awful thing.
Yeah.
So those 12 sets of families still stick in my mind to this day. And we'll talk about it more next week, obviously. But praise to you family members that lost your child.
Yeah.
I think always when Texas A&M week comes up, it's one of the first things you think about because, for such a hated rivalry and the way that thing goes down, and over the years you see so many people say so many things, but I think in the end you all realize you're all Texans, you all support each other no matter what in a crisis situation. I think everybody's there for each other. I thought Texas did a great job that year of reaching out and being there for Texas A&M the same way I think A&M would if something happened.
Yeah, and R.C. Slocum handled it like the professional that he is, and he and I are dear friends. In fact, we're going to sit together at the game next week.
That's great.
Yeah, so I hope he's miserable.
You guys have a lot of fun. We've got to remind you one more time, Friday night, 6 to 9 at Victory Lap. We'll be doing the Athletes First Tailgate Tour, Vince Young, Mack Brown, and me, and we're joined by our special speedy guest, Jamal Charles. We hope you all can join us. It's at Victory Lap Friday night from 6 to 9. We'll see you
Before
then.
we close
Come
up,
and see
Bob,
us.
Yes,
Coach,
VY, go ahead.
I want to say happy birthday to one of my mentors, Warren Moon. We got the Brothers in Arms Foundation. I just want to say thank you, big guy, for everything you have done for me and with the game and off the field. So happy birthday, Warren Moon. Hope you enjoy
what a
your day.
pioneer.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What a
Oh, yeah.
pioneer for race in our sport.
Yeah. And Vince passing it down to the next generation too. It's pretty cool. That's where you learned it from a guy like Warren Moon, and now you're passing it down to a guy like Taylor Green.
Absolutely.
It's pretty
That's
special.
what makes
to see.
this game so special.
That's exactly
Oh,
right.
yeah.
That's what makes
Definitely.
you two so special. It's really cool to see everything you guys do. So enough patting each other on the back. Let's get out of here. Thank you guys for listening, as always, to the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We'll see you Friday night at the Athletes First Tailgate Tour. And then, of course, we'll talk to you next week as Texas gets set for Texas A&M. We'll see you then.